www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
Network.com. Thank you for listening.
Welcome, everyone.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, fellow patriots. It is good to be back. You are listening to On Point with Victor, and I am Victor Armendariz. So sorry I missed last week, folks, but I'm sure that the folks here at America's Web Radio indulged you with some best of Victor. So hopefully it was a good one. The IT guy's looking at me right now going, eh. But folks, it is so good to be back. It's hard to miss a week because the news cycle never stops. And with today's left, how should I put this to try and put this nicely? Because I have guests in the studio today, and those of you who are watching us live right now, there are a couple of guests sitting here, and I will get to them in just a few. It's going to be a fantastic show today because my guest today, she's outstanding. And those of you who are in District 4, those of you who are tired of dealing with Hank Johnson, you're going to want to hear what my guest has to say today. So stay tuned for that. We will get to that right after the first break. But I want to touch on a few things. Like I was saying, the news cycle never stops. And with today's leftist and the Democrat Party of today, which is the Socialist Party in America today, borderline communist, some of them. I mean, look, folks, just take what Bernie Sanders is saying today. Now, folks, I tell you guys all the time, I don't sit here and make this stuff up. I don't sit here and try to be inflammatory to try and get ratings. I don't have to do that. All I have to do is repeat what today's latest program or latest words out of the mouths of some of these Democrat socialists who are running for president. All I have to do is repeat what they're saying, and that's inflammatory enough. But if you want to challenge me, hey, knock yourself out. I'd love to hear from you. But all you've got to do is look up, for instance, this morning, look at what Bernie Sanders is saying. Bernie Sanders, after tipping his hat yesterday that it might be time for the government to take over or the government to, quote unquote, control speech, to control the media is where he's going with that, folks. Now he's out today talking about nationalizing the energy production of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, without energy production, we don't have an economy. And if we turn that over to the government, if we let this big federal behemoth that sits in Washington, run by a bunch of, let's just, again, I'm trying to be nice today for my guest. But if look at what presides in D.C., look what presides in the swamp today. They're politicians, and when I say swamp, I'm talking about both sides. You've got some establishment Republicans that need to go. You've got a Democrat Socialist Party of today that needs to go. But that town is run by these guys, and you've got, my goodness, for lack of a better term, crony capitalism that's going on in that town. You've got one side that's trying to squash capitalism. You got another side that wants to play footsies with companies and put them under the foot of the federal government, and that's what turns into crony capitalism. And now you've got Bernie Sanders who wants to take the energy production, the engine of our economy, the engine of freedom, the engine of liberty, and he wants to put it under the control of the federal government. How the hell do you think that's going to work out for us, folks? You just, my goodness, I only have to go back to 2010 when Obamacare was run down our throats. That was basically the government taking over health care. How is that working out for us? And I am sure my guest is going to have a few things to say about that today. But think about it. Show me a program that the government, the federal government, show me a program that they work and run efficiently and to where it becomes beneficial for the people of this country. Show me a program that promotes freedom. Show me the program that promotes liberty. Show me the program that successfully promotes independence, not dependency. you're going to struggle to find me those programs. The only thing I think the federal government does pretty darn well, and that's usually when we have a Republican and president. Well, let me put it this way: when we have a freedom-loving, liberty-loving, United States-loving, put the United States first kind of a president, then we have a hell of a military. Because when we put the effort to build our military and take care of our veterans, then that's an area where we do well when it comes to federal government. But I can even go a little further there. Look at what Donald Trump has done as far as helping veterans that no Democrat has done before. Obama didn't do it, Clinton didn't do it, and then Bush didn't do it. I could go on and on. But when it comes to the veterans' health, that's a government-run system. And believe you me, we don't want that system for everybody. My goodness, we need to do better for the veterans. Well, Donald Trump has stepped up, and they've passed that law, I think it was last year, or maybe the year before, where now veterans can go outside veterans health care, and they can go get some private help when they can't get it in the veterans in that system. So when you've got a system of health care that supposedly takes care of the veterans that's run by the government, but those veterans have to seek private help and private hospitals, then how do you think that's going to work out for the rest of us? And you need only look, like I said, 2010 to look where we are now with Obamacare. It has absolutely flopped. But it's another show for another day, but I can tell you Obamacare is working out exactly how they planned. It was never planned to actually help people. It was just planned to take healthcare down so the government could 100% take it over with single payer, which is what you hear from Elizabeth Warren, from Bernie Sanders, from Cory Booker, from Kamala Harris, you name it. You're even from the so-called moderate Biden. Biden, if you listen to when he does make a coherent statement, he's spouting the same leftist jargon that you're hearing from all the other leftist socialist Democrats. So don't buy into this business about Biden being this middle of the roader, because he's not. Just listen to what he says. He wants to take over your health care. But I'm jumping all over the place, folks, because we're just riddled with topics. But here's something you want to look up. Go back to 2010, and the biggest lie of probably all lies in the past 20 years from a president that was told over and over again was, if you like your health care, you can keep your health care. If you like your plan, you can keep your plan. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Well, how did that work out for us? That's not the case. And folks, as I sit here today, look, I'm a cancer survivor, and I had to leave my health. I lost my health plan in 2012 because of Obamacare. So I'm one of those who didn't get to keep my plan, didn't get to keep my doctor. So I'm a living proof of that. And now you've got Joe Biden standing in front of people, and I just can't believe that his handlers, and that's what they are, folks, they're handlers, the people around him, allowed him to stand in front of groups of people and say the same line. If you like your health care, you get to keep your plan. If you like that. He actually said that to a group of unionists that he was trying to scam. That he was trying to talk to. And so this is what I mean, folks, by when I tell you these things, that you don't have to take my word for it. You can look it up for yourself, because I don't have to make this stuff up. Biden's doing a great job of just telling you who he is, and he can't always tell you where he is, but he will tell you what he is and what he's about if you just listen closely. And then Warren and the rest of that crowd, Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. They are 100% on the socialism train, and they want to take this country and you with it. Now, I want to sit here and believe that we as a country, that the majority of the people here do not want to go down the socialism road. I have to believe that. My fear is that we have such a state of indoctrination going on in this country. And when I say that, folks, some of you are probably going, what do you mean, Victor, by indoctrination? Well, think about it. Who owns Hollywood? The left. Who owns most of your TV shows? The left. Who owns late night TV? The left. Who owns media? ABC, CBS, NBC, CNBC, MSNBC, CNN, the left. all of those voices, PBS, the left, NPR, the left. I mean, some of this stuff your tax dollars are paying for. They all lean to the left. They all run cover for every Democrat nominee out there, for every socialist program being thrown at you out there. All of these media outlets that I just named run cover for the left. And then over here to the center, to the libertarian, to the right, the Republicans, whatever you want to call us today, you have talk radio. And you have a few hosts on Fox News. That's all we've got. So maybe during the day we've got 5, 10, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 or 3 to give you the other side, to make you think about what the left's saying. We have this little pot of time over here, but the left has all those other avenues. And that's what I mean by indoctrination. So what my fear is that there's so much indoctrination, and I didn't even mention education. Folks, if you send your kids to government schools, which also known as public schools, from kindergarten to first grade through 7, I think, or 6, elementary school to middle school to high school to college, and most of these colleges are so left of the dial. Think of how long your child is being indoctrinated. And if you're one of those parents that sends your kid off to school thinking, well, they're going to train my kid, they're going to teach my kid, they're going to guide my kid, and you don't have to do it as a parent, then that kid is being indoctrinated day in and day out, day in and day out. If you're a good parent, and I'll use my parents as an example. When I came home and I went to government schools, I'm a product of government schools. But my parents, every day, my mother made me read to her while she cooked dinner. My dad made sure we were all at the table and had dinner together. They spoke about things, and when we got older, they spoke about things on the political realm. So they made sure we weren't just getting spoon-fed things from school. But I'll venture to say that when I was back in school, in high school and elementary school, it wasn't as bad as the things that are being fed to students today. Back when I was in school, trade was still taught. We had workshop. We had, my goodness, there was back in the day when we even had a gun club where we actually learned how to take care of a weapon and learn how to shoot. We had bow lessons where we had to take a bow and arrow and learn how to shoot it, and we learned safety. And we had shop. I had to learn how to use a wood lay. I had to learn how to weld. All of these things I did in high school. Or in programs outside of high school that the high school didn't frown upon. Nowadays, you don't see any of that. All you see today is the world is burning. The Amazon is on fire. The Amazon. That's probably a Freudian slip there. But the climate is going. We're all going to die. We're either going to drown because of floods. We're going to drown because the ice is melting. We're no longer going to have iced tea because there's no longer going to be ice. It's either going to be that, or we're all going to sweat to death. We're going to melt. Which brings me to one of my favorite movies, and I'm not going to remember the name of it. Maybe one of my guests will remember the name. But there's a movie with Selma Hayek, and in this movie, they're out on she marries an American dude, a white guy, and she's Hispanic, and her the parents of the husband takes a look and says, the white people are melting. So that's just a good thing. That's a good movie to go watch. It's pretty funny. All right, folks, we got to go to our break. When we come back, we're going to get into a discussion with my guest, and you're going to want to hear this. So be sure to tune in. We will be right back. You're listening to America's Web Radio.
Get your pen and paper ready. If there's a move in your near future, I'm here to tell you that the folks I used and now recommend is Around Town Movers. Timothy and the guys recently moved me, and I am and was totally satisfied with a sometimes not so fun experience moving. Call Timothy at 770-378-4708 and make it a good move and a good experience. Around Town Movers for that local or cross-country move. Timothy, Around Town Movers, in my opinion, are the best. That's Around Town Movers. Call them.
45 years of experience is behind the most trusted name in auto transportation. Passport Transport, the first and finest today. That's why Passport Transport is the preferred auto transport for major auto manufacturers, concours, museums, tours, and collectors, and should be your choice from across the state to across the country. When you have the need, go to PassportTransport.com and enjoy the peace of mind referenced experience will give you. Passport Transport.
This is Ron Camacho, host of the Business Hour, on Fridays from 10 to 11 a.m. Join me as I talk with passionate professionals on a program that profiles the best businesses, business professionals, business practices, and fascinating individuals to get an insider view of how America works. 10 to 11 a.m. on America's Web Radio.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. This is On Point with Victor. I am Victor Armendariz, and this is America's Web Radio. Folks, check us out, americaswebradio.com. Check us out on Facebook, America's Web Radio. We have a Facebook page. YouTube, we have a live page there, America's Web Radio. You can also find On Point with Victor shows on YouTube. If you want to email me at the show, it's victor@americaswebradio.com, victor@americaswebradio.com. Look, I know a lot of you don't agree with me, and if you want to challenge me, please do so. If you can't do it during the live show, shoot me an email. And I will, if you're good enough, I'll bring you on the show. Well, let me put it this way. If you're brave enough, I'll bring you in the studio, and we can have a debate. We're not mean here at America's Web Radio. We're really nice. I won't even call you names, but if you call me a name, I'm going to kick you out. So that's just the rules of the game. But thanks for tuning in, folks. This has just been a great show so far, and we're going by so fast. And I know some of you wanted to hear my take on, is President Trump crazy? Is he mentally ill? Because that's the narrative coming out of the media today. That's, Russia collusion didn't work. Stormy Daniels didn't work. Trump's a womanizer didn't work. Trump's the devil didn't work. So none of these things are working. So now the new narrative is going back to, well, Trump's crazy. Trump's mentally this, that, and the other. When we've got Joe Biden on the other side, who can't tell you where he is at any given time, but yet he's okay. He's not crazy, but somehow Donald Trump's crazy. So Donald Trump, in fact, who just yesterday, I think, did a brilliant thing. Within the matter of 3 or 4 days, he had China looking one way, he had China going the other way, and now he's got China coming back to the table. And for any of you, those out there who don't think Donald Trump is one hell of a negotiator, you just keep thinking that, because when the world thinks that, they're all being brought into these killer deals by probably by the only man who could do it, which is President Trump. So much so that the little weasel, the leader from Macron from France, look what he did yesterday in the summit. That was nothing but respect that Macron was showing, and trying to get Trump to have lunch with him, which he did. And look what happened yesterday, folks. Macron went in and he wanted to talk about climate change and the world ending and this, that, and the other. And Trump looked at him and said, no, we're going to talk about trade. And Trump sets the agenda. But yet he was able to get Macron to sit down, and Macron to, just look last year and you'll see what I'm talking about, how Macron tried to treat Trump at that G summit last year. Compare it to this year and you'll see what I'm talking about. And again, folks, I'm going to tell you, whether you like President Trump or not, you've got to get to the point where you let down your emotions. Let your emotions go and start judging this president on policy, because policy is what matters. And if you're married to the letter D, it's time for a divorce. Now, I don't promote divorce and divorcing people on the, and things like that. I know what happens, but it is time to divorce the letter D. Being married to the Democrat, it's taking you to the cleaners. It's just going to get worse. So, all right, I want to pivot now. My guest sitting here, and I'm going to let Josie, I want you to just introduce yourself real quick and let the listeners know a little bit about your background, why you have that awesome helmet on, and what your plans are for 2020.
You are so funny.
I try.
I love it. I love it. I love it. My name is Yosira Cruz Isamuddin, but I'm going to be using my short name, which is Josie Cruz. Josie Cruz.
And folks, if you're wondering, Josie is from Venezuela.
I was born in Venezuela. I grew up in Venezuela. I experienced the socialism system in Venezuela that destroyed the country, that what we see today.
So you've got first-hand knowledge of socialism, bringing down a country, because Venezuela at one time was it had riches in that part of the world.
Well,
right?
the thing with socialism, it doesn't matter how the country, if it's rich or not, it doesn't matter. What it matters is the system. And we need to understand something about Venezuela. Venezuela is being into experiencing the socialism system since 80, 90 years ago. But they did it in such a way that we call progressism. It wasn't a progress way of doing it, little by little, changing policies, changing laws. Venezuela is one of the countries that changed the constitution the most. This is the country that changed the most constitution, how many times? Multiple times the constitution.
Wow.
And that's exactly what they want to do here in United States.
Wow.
So Venezuela, like I say, yes, rich in oil, yes, rich in gold. But
Yeah, so you've got minerals, you've got resources, especially the oil.
But
with socialism, doesn't matter.
Yeah, when they start nationalizing everything, the oil, but not only the oil, the health system, the education system, even they have a group of people who says what kind of business can come in the country and what kind of business cannot come. So all that, when you analyze the system of socialism, which is teaching people depend on the government, that's what happened,
Well, you said it right there, Josie. You're teaching people to be dependent.
And that's exactly what Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders said last week. Please, they were talking to their fans, just have faith, put your faith in government.
Okay. See, now, Josie, you said what you said right there, I wish every media would pick this up and run with it today. Because what you said, putting your faith, what Bernie Sanders and Warren said, putting your faith, what they mean by this, government is their religion.
Exactly.
Government is their religion,
yes.
not anything else.
Yeah, and then if you see the education system and the media system is teaching the kids and everybody the parents are not important, God is not important. What is important is the government. The government, when they give you the goodies, and when they supply you with welfare, and when they supply you with free. Even they believe the social media is part of the social. It's socialism, right? It's a confusion the kids today
they want to control it.
Yes, and then the kids started respecting their parents, mom and grandmas, and brothers and sisters. They don't have the fear. They don't have that fear that we. I mean, I am from 19.com, I am from that time. But we grew up with the fear of, respect, parents, any elderly,
right?
But also the teacher.
You were taught to respect your elders, respect your teachers, and by God, you had to respect your parents.
Yeah, and then the respect of the fear of the Lord too.
And
you had that before, but today is not anymore about that. It's about what can I get free? The government.
Well,
it's about the government.
The Democrats want to convince the world that we are no longer the land of the free, but we're the land of the free stuff. and we don't need to be known as the land of the free stuff.
Why do you think a lot of people are invading our borders? That's why I have this right here.
I was going to get to that.
Build the wall, because what I heard and what I let me rephrase that. On my investigation, on my reading time, is that paralegals from Chicago are flying from Chicago, like 20 of them, whatever number. They're going to Chicago, to Guatemala, and Honduras. And they are promoting the free state. And not the free state of Jones. No, I'm talking about the free state of United States. They are promoting that over there, and they're the ones who are generating those caravans. Okay? And those caravans didn't start with President Trump.
No.
Those caravans came from before, from Obama. But what happened is the media had it
right.
Hush.
Well, the media doesn't want to report things like that. In fact, Josie, if you research George Soros, he's the guy who put a lot of money behind the people down there that are organizing caravans.
Yeah, the Open Society. The Open Society.
Exactly.
Foundation, and Pueblos Sin Fronteras is the Spanish version. And then they are the ones who are promoting. And some towns in those countries are ghost town now, because a lot of people are coming
because
over
they're
here.
Trying to get
and
here.
Then why I'm wearing this, because we need to secure our borders.
Right.
Okay, I have a house and I have a lock in my house, with the door. I don't even have only the door, but I have the lock.
Right.
And then when I have the chance, I'm gonna put a fan around the house.
Right.
Right.
Well, look at the elitist in our politics. The elitist, the Pelosi, wall around her house. Obama, wall around her house. Why is it okay for them to have a wall around their house?
Because they live in millions dollar houses, and they need to take care of that house.
They want to
so it's the same thing. It's the same concept that I have for America. We are in a rich country, and we need to take care of our country.
Absolutely.
First, we have to secure our borders. Second, we have to secure the life of the people who are living in here, the Americans. And since I came here legally, yes, let me repeat that. I came here legally, and I went through the process, by securing my residency, and then I have to wait like what?
So you had to wait in line.
Yeah, I wait like 11 years for me to become an American citizen.
11 years.
And then in order for me to become American citizen, I study hard history. And I have to pass 5 questions out of 100 questions with 100 different, with the answers. And then if I would have had a mistake in one question, nice meeting you, Miss Josira. See you in the next appointment, because you need to pass all the 5 questions.
And that's the way it should
at
be.
the end, I end up knowing a lot of more history that the kids today are coming out from school and college.
Josie, I would tell you right now, you probably have a better understanding of American history than 80-90% of the students that are coming out of school today. And I mean elementary school and high schools. I bet you have a better understanding of how this country was founded and what it means when I always talk about this country as being the last bastion of freedom, the last bastion of liberty. If the United States falls, there's nowhere else to go. I mean, this is it. So those are some awesome points there, Josie. We're going to go to our next break. We're up at the next break. When we come back, I'm going to ask Josie some more questions. We're going to get into her plans for 2020, because for those of you out there, and I know there are a lot of you out there in District 4 that know me well, and you listen to my show, well, you're going to want to hear what she has to say. So we'll get into a discussion about that. So don't go anywhere. This is a short break. We'll be right back. This is On Point with Victor, America's Web Radio.
The Docs for Patient Care Foundation is your way to join the fight and become a member of an organization created by doctors for patients, dedicated to fighting for your healthcare freedom and preserving the doctor-patient relationship. Get a pen and paper. Write down www.docsforpatientcarefoundation.org. That's www.docsforpatientcarefoundation.org. Go to our site and please make a generous tax-deductible donation and join the fight today. Thank you.
Quick Stakes, that's Q-U-I-K Stakes, are not just for surveyors. They are great for family and community gardens. Go online to www.quickstake.com or contact your local land surveying supply dealer and get you a box of Quick Stakes. You'll love them every year when you plant your garden. Again, that's Quick Stakes, Q-U-I-K Stakes, the truly preferred way to stake and identify what's in your garden now.
Whether cruising the strip in a 57 Chevy or taking the family on a vacation in a 71 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser, you need to tune in to Classic Cars with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. on americaswebradio.com.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And folks, we're back. I told you that'd be a short break. Ok, vamos a regresar con Josie. Voy a hablar poquito de español para la gente. No, I'm gonna go right back to English, folks, because I know some of you are out there going, "What is he doing?" Pero Josie, hay veces que habla español, ¿verdad? In el campaign trail. And what I just asked her was that there are times when she probably could use Spanish on the campaign trail.
Yes, sometimes. Last night I had the opportunity to meet a couple. He was from Cuba and she was from Puerto Rico.
Wow.
And we had the choice and the blessing to speak Spanish in front of everybody, you know. Everybody was very understandable, which is excellent because that shows that America is not racist.
Oh.
Okay? That shows that our brothers and sisters, either black or white, they are not racist because they allowed us to speak our language.
And we could have a whole nother show on that, but that is so true. When I found, and I've talked about this before, Josie, as when I grew up and went through high school and college, the groups that would approach me would, just because I was Hispanic, always assumed that I was Democrat. And then when I pushed back a little bit, they would get mad at me. They would call me names. But the people on the right who I've always met, conservatives, libertarians, even the establishment Republicans, they were always much nicer to me and much more welcoming. And it's because, Josie, when you believe in freedom, when you believe in liberty, you believe in that for everyone. It doesn't matter. Freedom is not based on skin color.
No.
Freedom is not based on a language. Freedom is based in the idea of Americanism. And yes, folks, America, the United States, has a culture.
Yes.
We're a culture of
and
freedom.
we need to defend that culture.
Absolutely.
Because if we lose, look, if you read the Communist manifesto, one of the points say that you need to destroy the culture of the country that you intended to take over.
Yeah.
Okay, so when they are attacking, when they're the socialists, because I'm going to say name now, when the socialists, Democrats, the comrades, attack our country, attack our Constitution, attack our Bill of Rights. All right? They are trying to destroy the American idea, el know-how, the American dream, the American way of living. That's what they're trying to do.
Josie, you're so right. They want to destroy the ideals. They want to rewrite history, and they want to completely destroy the idea of freedom and liberty. What they want to promote is the idea of dependency, and everyone's a victim.
And guess why they're trying to destroy and take away all those statues and whatever? Chavez did it in Venezuela. Why? Because they want to hide what they did in the past.
Right.
Because those statues, if you analyze their history of each one, they are related to the Democratic Party.
Yes, they are.
They are related to the Socialist Party.
We've talked about that on this show, where if you really want to get down to the nuts and bolts, and which blows my mind why so many black people are married to the Democrat Party today, and why many Hispanics are being fooled into an engagement with the Democrat Party or the letter D, because when you go back, folks, look up Woodrow Wilson. He's a Democrat hero who basically rebirthed the KKK. And the KKK, back when it started, was a strong arm of the Democrat Party, just as Antifa today is the new strong arm of the Democrat Party.
It's the same KK with a different clothes.
With a different
color. I'm sorry, different color.
Right.
I mean, why it used to be white, dressed in white before, but now it's the same mentality, the same strategies, the same trying to destroy what is American is all about. And since United States being founded, there is always being an attempt to destroy United States.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, the world.
This is not something new.
It's not. And
this is not
the
something
world
new.
has, people. Someone, in fact, just yesterday was telling me, "Oh, but the rest of the world doesn't respect us." Well, I really don't give two if the rest of the world respects us. And what I mean by that is if the rest of the world does not respect us because they're jealous of the things we obtain, or they're jealous because the goals we set, they're jealous because we are the land of the free and we are a country of liberty, then you know what? Then I don't care if they respect us or not in those terms.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares if you respect me or not? You know what? you don't give me anything for me to support myself.
Exactly.
And that's what the United States is saying to all this country. I don't depend on you. You guys depend on me.
Right. And that's
To the
true.
point that Latin America, from Mexico down south to Argentina, all this country, regardless they like it or not, they need a United States to be a strong country.
Oh, very much so.
Because when they are in trouble, guess who they call?
Who do they call first? And it ain't 911.
No, the first, look, Venezuela, lately. All these politicians came to Washington, collect millions of dollars. That's another issue for another day.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So collect millions of dollars, take it back to Venezuela. Is Venezuela resolved? The situation is being resolved? No. But
No.
they need the money from United States.
Right.
Basically, they need the money from us because that's our
Yeah, it's taxpayers' dollars.
taxpayers' money.
Absolutely.
So when America goes over there, Yankee, go home.
Right.
Okay, when Iran is over there, that to America, but we're not going to sit down to talk to Trump until he lifts up the sanctions. But they want the money.
But they want the money. Well, they want another cash drop of
Another
$100
cash,
billion that the previous president was. I won't even get into that. But, folks, I want to real quick, if you're watching us live and you're seeing the hat that Josie's wearing, if you can't read it, it says Build the Wall.
Oh,
and now, Josie, because we're going to run out of time, it's going to go by so fast. Now, you are a candidate. You're a declared candidate for United States Congress. You're going to run against Hank Johnson in District 4 here in Georgia, correct?
That's correct.
Excellent.
We are in the process. My testing water period is finished.
Okay.
We are in the process right now of registering and getting all things together.
Okay.
Okay. I accept the candidacy, and I believe that the Republican and the Conservative can win the District 4.
I would tell you, Josie, and this is something off the air we can talk about because I know we're all going to talk at some point. Because I myself, for those listeners out there, some of them remember, all the new listeners may not know. I was a candidate and I ran against Hank Johnson in 2016. And Josie, I will tell you, there is an opportunity for someone of Hispanic, especially a woman, to make grounds and defeat Hank Johnson. I had no help, no money, and someone wants to know if the island is still going to sink, and by that they mean Guam.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make his seat flip over so I can take him out and then.
That's right. We're gonna sink.
That's what we're gonna do. We, the citizens of the District Number 4, those ones who are voting, you guys have the power to flip his seat.
That's
flip
right.
Flip it up.
Let's sink Hank.
Let's sink him.
I shouldn't. Let me don't put that. Hold on. I'm not going to put it that way because somebody's going to say that I want to do bad harm. We don't want to harm Hank, but we want to sink the seat. We want to flip the seat.
Yeah, that's what I refer.
Yeah,
let's
sink
the seat.
That's
and
great.
Then let me get in there.
Yes.
And do what we have to do.
Well, there's an opening there because I didn't really have the support of the Republican Party. I didn't have a big money train. But I did very well against Hank. And what I did was I went into the Democrat, where if Hank went somewhere, I went in behind him. If there was an area that I knew was heavy Democrat, I stood in front of the Walmart. I stood in front of the Sam's in Lithonia. I stood in front of the Golden, I almost said something else because I call that a different name to my friends, but the Golden Corral Buffet. I stood in front of it in Decatur. And I did these things because the message has to be taken to the Democrat voter, because they have been voting for the same type of person, whether it's Hank or whether it was Cynthia McKinney, for years and years and years. And they all complain about the same. They complain about education. They complain about the lack of business. They complain about crime. They complain.
How can you explain District Number 4 before these people got in power? It used to be the school system in District Number 4, especially in DeKalb. It was A+ schools, and today is F. Can you explain me that? Can you explain me how the security in District Number 4, especially in DeKalb? I'm going to focus in DeKalb because it's the major
that's
one.
The main.
You know, how come before used to be so much security, so much And today is crime and crime and after crime and after
and you can trace
shooting
that.
and shooting.
You can trace that to that change
of government.
And the change in the government.
The change in the government.
And it's not only with the congressional seat that you're seeking, it's the city council. It's the mayors.
Everything.
It's
It's a domino effect. It's a domino effect. And then I can compare today the cities of DeKalb, close to the district number 5 that is, back and forth, like a Baltimore. I'm comparing that situation like a Baltimore over there with Elijah Cummings, it's infested, it's bad, the roads are not good. I mean, the people are complaining about crime. Mothers are complaining, how, their kids, one child got paralyzed over the weekend. One child got paralyzed because he was walking and he was in middle of the gunfire, gunfire.
Oh no, he's in the gunfire.
He was in the middle of the gunfire.
That's terrible.
That little child, he will never walk.
Right.
Okay, so mothers, I'm talking to the mothers on district number 4. Mothers don't want that kind of situation for their kids. Mothers in district number 4, especially in DeKalb, they want the school to be good so their kids can read and understand and they can have a better future. Okay, second, they need security. They need the police, the presence of the police in there. Okay, and we can talk about a lot of small stuff, but I'm gonna let you.
No, that's perfect. And folks, when it comes to a district like District 4, the only way that we're going to make changes is we've got to change the elected officials. And I will speak directly to District 4 right now. If you want to put yourselves on the map, if you truly, truly are tired and angry and mad because you don't get enough attention, you want attention, District 4? Flip that seat. Send Hank on a vacation and put Josie in that seat. You want to shock the system? Put Josie in that seat. Because nobody in this world right now, especially here in District 4 in Washington, believes that Hank will lose that seat. And if you want to shock the system, and you want District 4 to be on the news every night, you want District 4 to be the light, you want Washington to look at District 4, send Josie to D.C.
I want to do the same effect that AOC did, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I want to do the same effect, but benefiting the Americans.
The American people.
Know what she's doing. She's benefiting the illegals. She's benefiting every other country, any social culture.
And herself.
And herself, because the first thing that she got paid after she got elected was a $10 million for a documentary that she did because she won the election in New York.
Wow.
So you see, this is all about socialism. That's the leaders in socialism, they get rich.
Josie,
and the rest of us, we live in a little house, 2-room, 1 bedroom with 5 or 6 people living in the house.
Right. Well, Josie, there's something that I always say on this show. Socialism is never for the socialist, only for the people. So the elitist in socialism will always benefit. Whatever a socialist leader passes, they are never going to have to live by. Only the people. And a lot of times I'll refer to we the peasants. We the peasants have to live on government health care, but not the elitists. The elitists will never live. In fact, Josie, you probably know the answer to this, and I'll bet Kat, your campaign manager, who's hiding from the camera, I bet he knows the answer to this. But you show me an elitist in Washington, an elitist socialist Democrat, an elitist Democrat, they're all socialists now, but show me the elitist who sends their child to a government school. It doesn't happen.
They don't.
One of them goes,
they send their kids to university, and I
Well,
I believe if they don't even pay for the school is like a grant for their kids.
Well, hold that thought right there, because we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to get into some issues that are dear to Josie's heart. So we will be right back. You're listening to On Point with Victor, America's Web Radio.
Get your pen and paper ready. If there's a move in your near future, I'm here to tell you that the folks I used and now recommend is Around Town Movers. Timothy and the guys recently moved me, and I am and was totally satisfied with a sometimes not so fun experience moving. Call Timothy at 770-378-4708 and make it a good move and a good experience. Around Town Movers for that local or cross-country move. Timothy, Around Town Movers, in my opinion, are the best. That's Around Town Movers. Call them.
Perhaps you are struggling to cope with the disease of addiction. If not, you probably know a family member or friend that needs help in battling the cravings and the personal and professional damage done by the effects of drugs or alcohol. Get a pen and paper and be ready to write down the following. These are the issues that the trained staff at the Atlanta Healing Center address and treat every day. Their doctors and counselors with over 40 years of practice in the field of addiction can treat the suffering individual in a thoughtful, compassionate, and experienced manner and guide him or her along the path to recovery. So call 770-696-9862 and speak to a knowledgeable staff member about how you or your loved one can be helped to enjoy a better and healthier life. More information is also available on the website at www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
You really can't appreciate what someone has gone through until you walk a mile in their shoes. That is why we are bringing the second annual Walk a Mile in Her Shoes to Atlanta. We are literally asking men to walk a mile in high-heel shoes to express empathy for women who have been victims of sexual assault. Are you man enough? If so, join us Saturday, October 5th at historic 4th Ward Park. For more information, go to atlantawalkamileinhershoes.everydayhero.do.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're going to get right back into our talks with Josie. Josie, I know you want to get into some of your issues and your what's really on your mind and what's driving you to unseat Hank. I know immigration's a big one. So why don't you touch base with that? But there is something I want to get to after that. I was very, 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 very pleased to see that you support the fair tax, a consumption tax idea. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I was a speaker for the Fair Tax Association in Georgia, and I still give whenever I can. We'll give speeches on the fair tax to try to educate people. So that is a huge issue, and that is something that I think if President Trump picks up in his second term, would be amazing. Would be
fantastic. We can start talking about that.
So
with the fair tax. Okay. Let me make it short.
Okay,
and then if you want more, Carlos can piggyback on that. So fair tax. I'm promoting the part that are on sales instead of what we have.
Right.
So if we approve the 12%, it would be like 3% local, 3% state, and 3% federal. If it's 12%.
Right.
Okay. And then if it's 18%, it would be, would be 4. Local, 4% local, 6% local, 6% state, and then say 6% federal. That will ease up. It would make it easier for a lot of people, And I know that I have a lot of elderly persons the citizens came to me and they are complaining about why they have to be paying taxes on their property when their property is already paid off. So they are very upset about that. And why do I have to pay taxes because the money goes for the school? I don't have nobody going to the school, So those are issues that we can work it out.
Absolutely.
We can work it out, and then if it passes, it would be a blessing for a lot.
It would be huge. We would send this economy. Look how well the economy is doing now, but it would do so much better. And President Trump, this is one thing I would love to sit with him and talk about, because if we got rid of the federal income tax and went to a consumption tax, we would become the manufacturing hub of the world. Companies would be lining up to get in this country to build manufacturing, which is what he's trying to do with the trade war. And I don't mind him fighting with China, because as long as the end goal is to get to zero tariffs, but that's another show. But just by passing a consumption tax in the United States would create the biggest tax haven for the world.
And we buy a lot. We buy a lot. We buy food. We buy clothing. We buy, the accessories, the new computer, the phone.
Well, if the liberals, the socialist Democrats, and today's Democrat Party, if they really, really cared about the American people, if they really put people first, then they would all be on board with the consumption tax idea, because the consumption tax actually taxes wealth. It doesn't tax production. when you tax production, you're punishing achievement. But if you go to a consumption tax, then you're actually taxing wealth because people will buy. People are going to buy, and you're taxing the buying instead of taxing the earning. So there's so many positives to this.
Yeah, it's a whole new approach.
It is, but the left is never going to get on board.
Go ahead, Carlos.
Because
basically you're taxing the GDP.
Right.
Okay. So what happens when you're taxing the GDP? Your tax base broadens. So the government receives more money, and the people keeps more money.
Yeah.
So the people, when the people keeps more money, consume more. So it's a good.
It's a good cycle. Good cycle to have, and what the left hates, and some establishment Republicans, is they lose power. If we change to a consumption tax, it would be the biggest transfer of power from the federal government to the people since the revolution.
And that socialism.
Yeah,
those socialists from the Democratic Party, they won't like that. They
don't like it because you're going to be
because they're going to lose control.
They're going to lose control. And if look, folks, if the Democrat Party doesn't create dependency, they don't get votes. The only way they can continue to get voted into office is by continuing to create victim classes, continue to separate people into groups, and continue to create dependency. And that's how Democrats gain votes, and that's why they want open borders.
Yeah, they divide us in little groups. The Latinos, the Hispanics, the blacks, the Jewish, the whatever. And then they keep us divided, and it's for that. You know, to divide and to conquer.
It's absolutely, they divide and conquer. That is their goal. And that's why they want open borders, because right now the Democrat Party is scared to death because there's internal polling showing that a lot of black voters are starting to look at the Republican Party and support Trump. And a lot of Hispanics, legal Hispanics, like my father who came here legally, like Josie who came here legally, like myself who's here, we are supporting President Trump. And the more of us that do, the more the Democrat Party panics. And that's why they want open borders, because an open border to a Democrat is a new voting bloc coming over to this country.
They are sowing for the future. You know, they are putting the seed now with the illegals crossing, because in 20 years, those kids that they're going to have now, they're going to be voting in 20 years. Right. That's a guarantee voters for the Democratic, right?
That's the seeds they've been planting with all of the indoctrination that's been going on with government schooling and getting into these kids. I mean, look what they do. They scare the bejesus out of kids today by telling them that the planet's dying, the sun's going to burn them to death, and that Republicans want dirty water, they want dirty air. It's awful what they're telling kids today. But that could be a whole nother show. But I know, I love it that you're on board with the fair tax. But let's talk a little bit. I know you've got some things to say about immigration.
Okay, since President Donald Trump won the presidency, right? The election, and he became the president. And a lot of people are seeing his agenda, the proposal. Like everything come with a good, positive outcome. Everything that he's doing. And then that is what I call, it produces what I call the Trump effect. The Trump effect is that a lot of business people are getting into the political arena. Okay? But not only that, a lot of minorities are getting out of the Democratic Party because they see what the Democratic doing today is the same thing that they did back home, back in their home, when they left those countries and they came here legally, like the Latinos and the Hispanics that came here legally, right? So they are living the plantation mentality. And I'm sorry to say it like that, but that's the reality. The plantation mentality is that the plantation owner is going to provide me the medical, they're going to provide me the food, it's going to provide me the little house, it's going to provide me the little clothing and a little bit of food and then a little bit of something, but not enough for you to make the difference.
Como dice mi abuela, es la verdad.
That's the real truth.
And that's the real
truth.
That's
the truth. And I know I'm being raw, and not only raw, but I'm being rough too. But that's how I see it. Why I see it like that? Because I saw that back in the other country that I came from. You know, I am not a Venezuelan anymore. I am an American citizen now. And there is a lot of flashbacks, a lot of things that I say, oh, no, please. Oh, no. You know, that's the feeling that, how you call it? Yebadu? Babadu? Deja vu.
Deja vu.
Exactly. So what I'm saying with this immigration, with the Democratic Party, by bringing these people from the illegal way, you know, crossing. They say crossing the border. I say invasion. You know, I say it how it is.
And
it's an invasion.
It is an invasion.
They come over here, and then when they come over here, they are taking advantage of the benefits of the system. Okay, they are taking advantage of the medical. Look, in California, they want to give them free health care and free housing and all that
everything.
Stuff. Okay, but
what and by housing they mean a tent under the bridge. But go ahead.
But what it got that to do with District Number 4? That situation got to do with DeKalb County? Well, easy. When you allow somebody like incumbent to pass, ignore the laws, and he's a judge and he's a lawyer, okay? He's a lawyer, he was a judge, and he ignores the law, the Constitution. When he was swearing in that position, he swore that he was going to defend the Constitution of the United States. He was going to defend the Americans, okay? No, he's lining up with this foolish squad and all these Democrats who hate our country, and then he's giving them a green light for the immigrants to come over here, and they are coming to the district. And what happened with them? They are taking the jobs away from the blacks. They are taking away the job from the Latinos who are legal in the district. So they bring the wages down. All right, they get paid $8 an hour. Okay. Who can survive and who can maintain a family with $8 an hour? Tell me.
Right. No, that's not
going to happen. Okay. So he is promoting that kind of situation for the black citizens of DeKalb County. Get into the government dependency because they are not going to have a job that allows them to support their family with what, $15 an hour, $20 an hour, you know.
Right. They can talk about all the time trying to raise the minimum wage, but whenever the government tries to control what a company pays, jobs are lost.
And then
it happens every time.
There is a question that I ask myself, and a lot of Hispanics get upset with me. But how come you are coming from, let's say, Mexico or Guatemala, Honduras. Okay, let's say you come here illegally. In 2 years, that person already had their own business. Cutting grass, painting, whatever, name it. Okay? How come that person who just came from another country, they already have here a business going on, and how come the Americans, black, who are born in this country, the Latino who are born in this country, the descendant, who are born in this country, is so hard for our citizens, for our people, to get into the business of cutting grass or cleaning or
cutting trees,
whatever, name it.
Car washing.
Look, Georgia is the state #1 for businesses. And I seen a lot of illegal having their own businesses. Why our brothers and sisters, African American, they cannot have their own business?
Right.
Why? What is going on in there? Why the leaders are not allowing them?
Exactly. And we need to
develop.
And these are the things that have to be talked about straight to the voter of District 4. And we've got to take it, this hard truth that you're speaking here, Josie, we have to take
and remember,
to District 4.
The incumbent, he's doing this. He's benefiting the illegal instead of his own people.
Oh, absolutely. He benefits himself. All right, folks, we're going to have to leave it there. Josie, where can people find you? What's your website?
JosieCruz2020.com.
JosieCruz2020.com. Folks, look her up.
With the H before the S.
And H before the S. So look her up, folks. Find her. If you have any trouble finding her, just email me. This has been a great show. Thanks to my guest. You're listening to On Point with Victor. Be sure to tune in next week, and we'll be back. Thanks so much.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.